This is AI.R. Artists in Residence Broadcasting, coming to you once a week from New York City. Hello, I'm John Cullum, and this is my wife, Emily Frankel, and we're going to tell you about what today?
I Want You.
Yes.
You know a lot of very famous people.
Well, yes.
I was trying to think, all these wonderful people of theater you knew, you know still.
Yes.
I would like you to tell us a little bit about your relationship to Hal Prince. Hal is so major, and I've seen interviews, but I've never seen someone like you who has worked hand in hand with him on quite a few shows.
Yep.
So speak about Hal Prince.
Well, Hal's my relationship with Hal started before I knew him.
I didn't know that.
Well, in a sense, he saw me and on a clear day. He hates it when I tell this story, and he claims it's
don't
not
watch
true.
Hal, don't watch.
He told Alexis Smith.
Oh, wasn't she wonderful?
Yeah, he told Alexis Smith that he couldn't find anybody to play the lead in on the 20th Century, and she said, "Well, have you thought about looking at John Cullum?" He says, "Oh no, John Cullum, it doesn't have the sense of humor." He says I saw him in On a Clear Day, and he's the dullest actor in a musical comedy.
Oh no!
Well, he doesn't. He claims that's not true, but and maybe it is. Maybe it's an exaggeration on my part. But we certainly had a wonderful relationship on the 20th Century, and I did some pretty comic stuff for him, and I think
I'll rise again.
That's right. That's right. You helped me with that too, and of course Kevin Kline helped me by just being competitive in that. He was so wonderful, and everybody was wonderful. But Hal started as producer, and he, before he ever directed a single show, he was known as the best producer on Broadway.
Well, essentially, he is a producer, but he suddenly or somehow went into directing. But even as a director, he wasn't really a directing director. He was a producing. He made actors produce their own point of view. Isn't that what you said to me?
Yes, that's true. And, I did She Loves Me, which was a play, a musical that was Hal's first directing job. And he had a great deal of trouble with people accepting him as a director. In fact, Jack Cassidy, who was a very close friend, and this is a story I just found out about.
Cassidy was a close friend of Hal's.
Hal's, yeah. And he was giving Hal a hard time, wouldn't do this and wouldn't do that, and wanted to do it a different way. And finally Hal said, "We can do two things, one of two things." He said, "Either you will accept me as a director and take my direction, or I can get somebody else." And that changed everybody's attitude, and they began to accept him. But you're right. Hal I think one of the great things about Hal has always been that he knows what works for Broadway, and he's always had an instinct for that. It's like a big toy for him, and he just has an instinct more than anything else about what works for a New York audience.
$1 million toy.
That's right, and
multi-million-dollar toy.
And he's been most effective when he's happy and jovial and playful in producing and directing it. That's always been showed up in the work, and he's made many successes. He's the most successful producer.
What kind of man is he? Do you like him as a man?
Yes, he's a very amiable, cheerful kind of. You don't cross him.
So does he get mean?
He doesn't. He will fire you with shaking while he's shaking your hand and patting you on the back if he has to, but because he never loses his cool, and so you may get your head chopped off. But he'll be smiling and telling you how much he likes you.
Did you ever have a confrontation with him?
No, not while we worked.
Well, you're not confrontational. You're
Not-
a nice guy.
Well, so is Hal, and he still keeps busy to this day, and I've enjoyed working with him recently on several projects.
Oh, John, this is fun to hear about you talking about Hal. Thank you very much. This is what I wanted you to talk about.
Okay, I'm glad you got it out of me.
Okay.
Here we go, and we'll see you next week. This is AI.R. See you next week.